Morning and welcome to Gardening 365 65. And the secret of good brassicas, and brassicas is anything derived from the cabbage family, but to have good brassicas you need to net. Now I know it's a bit too late to net this time of the year, but hopefully you've done that earlier in the year, and that deters the cabbage white that lay their eggs, and then obviously they hatch into caterpillars and they absolutely decimate all of your brassicas. Now I've netted mine, okay, and what I'm going to do now, I'm going to have a look at this. It's a red cabbage, and then I'm going to cut it and make some pickled cabbage with it, hopefully. And that, I'm sure you'll agree, is an absolute whopper. And obviously when you're finished, re-net, and I'm going to get back inside because it's raining, and it's raining sort of quite sharp at the minute. I've taken all the outside leaves off now, and I put on the scales, and it's 3.7 pound in weight, or if I press this, it's 1.5 kilos. So it's a fair size cabbage. Now I know you can get them that big buying them in supermarkets, but what have they been grown with to get them to that size? What sort of fertilisers? I know all my fertiliser I've created in my own garden using horse muck and compost, and everything in that cabbage is natural, and that's why I'm going to enjoy eating it so much. Doing lots of preserving today. This is kohlrabi. I've just blanched it, and very shortly I'm going to be putting it into the freezer. And I'm going to cut the cabbage in half. It's really quite satisfying. Tougher than you think, especially the stalk in the middle. Now doesn't that look beautiful? Fantastic. So I'm going to cut this all up now, but first of all, cue the music. Halfway through, and I'll do the other half now as well. Any outside leaves go out for the ducks, but I think the kohlrabi's just ended them. I think they've had enough brassicas for a while, so they're not rushing out for it. But I'll leave them out for a couple of days, and when there's just stalks left, I'll pick them up. I'll chuck them in the compost bin then, to avoid any mess being out here. The ducks love them actually, it's just they're stuffed. And when the kohlrabi is completely cool, I'll put it into freezer bags. Now what I've done to this is something called blanching, and blanching is where you boil something for a very short period of time, and this has been blanched for just 1 minute, and then, whoops, one on the floor. What happens then is you put it in ice cold water and then allow it to dry. That's blanching. Now when I'm packing these, I'm doing them really quite small portions because there's only me and Claire. You probably wouldn't eat any more than that in a meal. So what I do then is just tie them, and then take all of the air out of the bag, and 6 bags of kohlrabi to go into the freezer, and it should last for about 12 months in the freezer. You can use it anytime, whenever you want. And before putting in the freezer, I've labelled it up. Now I might like kohlrabi, but kohlrabi pie and custard ain't going to be very nice at all. In the freezer now, ready to be eaten whenever. Now with my pickled cabbage, I'm going to do it exactly the way that I did with my pickled onions. So I'll just put a bit of salt around the top. And what this is for more than anything is to bring the moisture out, so you get nice crunchy pickled cabbage when it's done. And a couple of days ago I did a little job where I moved some plants into the wildlife area and the duck pond, and here's how that went. Claire's grown this is oxeye daisy, and she had it in a little flower cottage garden, but it got a bit too much, so now what I'm going to do is split it up and I'm going to put some round our ponds just for some cover, and it's great for bees. Now I've started to dig and it looks like bluebells, so what I'll do is just pick these out, and when I put the oxeye daisy in I'll plant them back in so they can definitely grow again next year. And who's with me? As always, Houdini. She's after worms. What a lovely duck she is. My favourite. In the hole now, and what I'm going to do is just take the tops off so the goodness goes back into the roots. Put two in, cover them up the best I can. One over there as well. And now I'm going to give them sort of half a can of water just to settle them in. And that's the fifth and final one in. And just like with the others, I'm just going to cut the tops off and then give them some water. Now the byproducts from doing the job, the flowers and greenery from the oxeye daisies, they'll be composted, not my secateurs by the way, they'll be put back in the shed, and the soil will just be broken up, sieved, and then used for other gardening projects. So always make sure you're recycling any waste that you have from your jobs that you're doing. Nothing goes to waste in this house. Please subscribe. Thank you. I've also had a bit of a tidy up in the greenhouse, and this is what I did. Now this is becoming a bit of a mess. This is a tomatillo and the cucamelon, so I'm going to give them a bit of a trim. And it's now looking a bit more manageable. And other things from the greenhouse that you might think are waste. These are tomatoes that have fell off during picking when they've been green. Just leave them somewhere in the sun and they ripen. But what I wouldn't suggest is picking them green just for the sake of it. Let them ripen on the plants if you can. And every time now I'm in the greenhouse and I fancy a nibble, there's something instantly to eat. And I was fairly happy with my carrot harvest. Still got plenty more though. Now for my next job I'm going to need a tub, and in the tub at the moment are some carrots. And interesting, this year so far all of my carrots have been grown in tubs, and because they have, not a single one's got carrot fly. Absolutely wonderful. But I need this now, so I've got to empty the carrots out. Those are the carrots, and not a bad return, but when you think we've pulled 5-6 meals off them already, I think you'll agree that's a really good return. But this is more about the soil now. Now the soil I've grown the carrots in will be totally unfertilised, so now for what I'm going to grow next needs to have fertiliser in, and it'll all be natural of course. I need to mix that in. And here's how I did my entry for the Christmas Potato Challenge, where you grow your own potatoes for your own Christmas dinner. Okay, hopefully you get involved and join in with me doing it as well. Hopefully great fun, and we can show each other's progress as the weeks go by. I've still got some potatoes left over. These are earlies and these are lates. Now as you know, nothing goes to waste at this house, so watch and see what I do with some of these potatoes today. Now I'm preparing some soil, so this is just straight gardening soil that's been sieved. This is some wood chip. Well rotted horse muck, and this is worm compost. So I'm going to use all of these mixed together in certain varieties to do my next couple of jobs. Into the soil now goes the well rotted horse muck along with the worm compost and some wood chip, and now I'll give it all a good mix. Just a small amount of soil in the bottom. I've now added my 2 late potatoes, and these are Alfred Bartlett, and thank you to Jane for giving me these. It was about 3 or 4 months ago she gave them me, and I've kept them till now.
Add enough soil just to cover, and then place them somewhere. Well, just place them somewhere. I'm going to put mine in the greenhouse, but you can keep them outside at this time of the year. It's only when the frosts come that they'll have to come inside. Give them a drink of water, and in about a week or two we should see them poking through the surface. And I'm hoping those are my Christmas potatoes. And the remaining soil I'm just going to keep until I need it, for topping up the potatoes and for other little jobs. As you know, nothing goes to waste, and earlier in the week I made a planter from just pure scrap, used all recycled plants, and I think it looks pretty good so far and look absolutely spectacular next year. So I hope you enjoy this bit too. And into my tub, which I've half filled full of soil, I put 5 daffodils. Now the little barrel itself, Claire had put out to be taken to the tip. I've just repaired it just slightly. I don't want it to look perfect for where it's going. Okay, then I'm going to fill these a little bit deeper now with some more soil. And in the top of the tub now, I've got some crocus seeds, and these were collected from crocuses last year, not from our garden. My sister collected these for me, so thank you to my sister. I've got some lupins, and I've got a few poppy seeds, and I'm just going to scatter them in here just like they were growing wild. These are the crocus seeds, and I know you probably think crocuses don't grow from seeds, but of course they do. Then they turn into bulbs, and then they grow as normal, that sort of type thing anyway. And now I'm going to put maybe, I don't know, 7 or 8 lupin seeds, and I'm going to finish this off with a very fine dusting with some poppy seeds. Not many though, just a few. I'm just going to cover it up now, but this has cost absolutely nothing. It's a barrel that was going to be thrown away, 5 daffodils out of the garden, and all of the seeds have been collected wild, absolutely free of charge, and it'll look good. And I'm going to place it there on an old broken chair just to make a bit of a feature from. So I'm hoping early next year we'll see crocuses, a little bit later some daffodils, and then as the season goes on some poppies, lupins, and won't it look just great there. And yesterday I got the chance to get out and to harvest my exhibition onions, and here's what happened. Now I'm just about to pull my big onions, and the main reason why is I'm getting bird damage by them. I'm not sure if it's pigeons, crows or what it is, but I can't have that, so I'm going to pull them up. And not a bad return for half a packet of onion seeds, but they're only the small ones. Those are the big ones. Now believe it or not, there's nearly 20 pounds in weight of onions in my 2 hands, and there's just 7 of them. That's a massive return for half a packet of onion seeds. How chuffed am I with them? Well, that chuffed I'm going to put them down now, they're too heavy. At 3.3 pound, this is the biggest one of all. Those are the shallots. Those are the onions, and I don't think Claire will be tying them and hanging them up the same as the shallots. My chilies are really flopped this year. I don't mean flopped. They've flopped over. So what you need to do is just to tie them up. This one's just gone over, so I'll tie it to that stick. Nothing more than that. Otherwise, I'm really happy with the chilies. And looks much better now. So pleased with that. And I'll just have a look around the others, see if they need a bit of a tie up. And there's some of me good ones, and they're ripening really well. I had one of them for my lunch earlier today. A little tiny one. Cheese on toast with chilli. It was just gorgeous. Whoa! And that's my first Scotch bonnet ripening. Looking forward to that. Well, unfortunately, that concludes this episode of Gardening 365. Join me next time for Gardening 365 66. Thank you as always for watching, and if you're enjoying the videos, please subscribe. That's really important for me. And also comment. I love seeing comments, and if you've ever got any questions, please ask and I will try and answer them. Keep inviting your friends to Facebook, and please keep subscribing to our YouTube channel. That'd be awesome. Till the next time, bye.
here.